no real growth going on. I was kind of a shy kid who had lost his confidence somewhere along the way. And that kind of turned into me telling myself I wasn't good enough every single day. So I knew when I was getting to the point where graduating college that I wasn't going to have a choice anymore, that I was going to have to get out into the real world, and I wasn't going to have that cocoon of my neighborhood that I lived in and my friends that I were around and my mother making my bed. You know what I mean? So I was going to have to get out there in the real world. And I was stressed about it. But what happened was,
welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast, where we bring to you the most successful, happy, fulfilled gentlemen from around the world who have been able to conquer themselves, their life, their marriage, and their businesses. You will be learning from four-dimensional gentlemen who have cracked the code to the science of having it all. The question is, how can married entrepreneurs with kids become gentlemen, achieve true freedom, and build a successful, happy, and fulfilled life, marriage, and business? This show will give you the answer for that. My name is Alex Ramirez, and I'm your host, and you're welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, Fulfillment Talk podcast. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. As always, I have an incredible guest. And I know I always say that, but it's because it's always true. And I'm very excited to get to talk to this gentleman, get to learn from him, and get to connect with him. But before I introduce him to you, though, I just want to give a big shout out to all of you who have been leaving comments, reviews, and likes on all the major podcasting platforms, Apple, Google, and Spotify, and to those who have been watching on YouTube as well. Thank you. And I want to ask you for a small favor today. I want to ask you that if you get something out of this interview, if you get some type of value, some type of information and insight, a skill, or the inspiration to go out and take action and make some progress towards your goals, I want to ask you to please share this interview with 10 people, not 1, 10, right? Share it on social media, post the link on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, share with 10 people, since this is how we grow. This is how we share our message. And this is how we're able to motivate, inspire, and bless other men out there to change their lives. And today I have, man, you're going to have to, Ralph, what's your last name?
DiBugnara.
All right. DiBugnara. Okay, cool.
There you go. You got it.
Right. I have Ralph DiBugnara, and he's a nationally recognized real estate expert who serves as president of Home Qualified, the digital resource for buyers and sellers and real estate agents driving today's millennial market. And he's vice president at Cardinal Financial, a nationally recognized mortgage loan company behind 28 billion of closed loans. And a frequent industry commentator, Ralph is considered one of the leading voices across the next big trends in real estate. So that's exciting. And his background is that he grew up in New York among humble surroundings. His experience growing up in a blue-collar background. He learned from his father working multiple jobs to put food on the table. And that built his foundation of belief that hard work can overcome every obstacle. And through this experience in hard work in life, Ralph believed the most important tool anyone can have is mindset. So I'm excited about that. Ralph, thank you very much for being here and making some time, man. I appreciate it. And you are welcome, man.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. That was a great intro. I appreciate it.
So, Ralph, the first thing that I do with my guest, man, is I tell them to walk us through their entrepreneurial journey in 75 seconds or less.
Okay. So I kind of grew up hard. I grew up around probably not the right kind of people doing the right things. And when I graduated college, I really didn't know what I was going to do. It was very stressful because I didn't really like school. I graduated college with a finance degree, and I ended up in mortgages because I couldn't get a job anywhere else. My friend was in mortgages, and he offered me a job as a salesperson, as a loan officer. So I started in 2001, about 20 years ago. And I rode the market up to about 2008, in a pretty successful manner. By the time 2008 came in and we dealt with the market crash, the real estate market crash, I was senior vice president of a publicly traded company. I was living in a penthouse on Wall Street. I had properties all over the country. And within 6 months, I lost almost everything. And I started over again. And, from there, I've built up my business to about, we did about $2 billion in loans last year. And I have a real estate portfolio that's probably somewhere between 15 and 20 million right now. And those are kind of my two major activities right now, besides the stuff we do on social. And we have a Disrupt Network podcast and a television show that's coming out on DirecTV this year. And I have a book coming out in November. So it's been a good journey, but it's been a bumpy road.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like that up and down, right? So that's what I'm trying to avoid. So that, that's one of the reasons that I get on these podcasts. And it sounds like you you went to college, right? And you lacked clarity, like you didn't know what you wanted to do. And
Sure.
like this podcast is not about me, it's about you. But I just want to tell you this quick story, man. One of my clients is a 14-year-old, right, who invested in himself, who wants to start up, who we're starting a podcast for, because he's going into high school and he's worried that he doesn't know what he wants for his life. He came to me and he was like, man, 2 weeks ago I wanted to be an engineer, and then a month ago I wanted to be an anesthesiologist. Right now I wanted to be like a Navy. Like, I don't know what I want with my life. And we're going to start a podcast of him, 14-year-old, interviewing the most elite professionals in the world, so that he can gain some firsthand experience and some clarity on what he wants. Cool. And I help them find purpose. Like, his purpose now is not only being able to help himself gain clarity, but to help like thousands or millions of teenage students from around the United States and the world to get clear on their purpose, what they want, for who they want to be, what they want to do, and what they want for their life. So that's clarity. It's something definitely very important. So yeah, and
that's amazing, by the way. That it'll be nice to see his journey through podcasting if he can do it that way.
Yeah, that's how he's going to do it. It's going to be amazing, man. I'm excited for him. But yeah, so you lack clarity, right? Just like a lot of people lack clarity. So what do you think that was like?
I think that I was very weak-minded. I think that at that time, whenever anything got hard, I quit. Right. So there was no real growth going on. I was kind of a shy kid who had lost his confidence somewhere along the way. And that kind of turned into me telling myself I wasn't good enough every single day. So I knew when I was getting to the point of graduating college that I wasn't going to have a choice anymore, that I was going to have to get out into the real world, and I wasn't going to have that cocoon of my neighborhood that I lived in and my friends that I were around and my mother making my bed. You know what I mean? So I was going to have to get out there in the real world, and I was stressed about it. But what happened was I was forced to grow up. I was forced to grow, right? I was forced to make myself uncomfortable and do it. And somebody forced me to do it instead of me forcing myself to do it. But once I was forced to do it, I learned how to force myself to do it. And from there, I grew. But I think that it was just a lack of belief in myself. It was a lack of being comfortable with myself. And I think the best thing I could give advice to people for, especially younger people, is to be comfortable with who you are more than anything, because the highest and best self you can be is you and yourself, and not pretending to be somebody else.
100%. I agree, man. So be comfortable with who you are. Right. So I want to ask you about like how, like, I don't know, maybe you have some advice on how to get comfortable with who you are. But first, I want to, go a little bit like more back into your story, and
sure.
Where there's this like shyness and, feeling of not being good enough and, being, like you said, weak-minded come from.
So I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. And, in my neighborhood, it was a very, very small Italian neighborhood. That it was great for whatever it was, but it was like a kind of a bubble. And I was a kid who was a really good athlete. I was prom king in middle school, and everybody really loved me where I lived. I was a kid that was always smiling and everybody loved. And at 14 years old, my parents moved me to Staten Island, New York, which is only about 2 miles away from where I lived, but it's over a bridge, and it could have been 3,000 miles. That's how far it seemed. And I came into a place where I didn't know anybody. Nobody thought I was special. I had to redo everything, and I didn't know how to. I didn't have the skill set at that time to be outgoing enough to go make friends, and I really just kind of sat in my house for a year. I would go back and forth to Brooklyn when I can to see my friends, but I couldn't go that often. And I just kind of sat in my house for a year, and it really shattered my confidence. And I quit playing sports. I quit really doing well in school, and I got through high school okay, and I have fond memories of it, but I never really recovered from that until I got older and I got into the world, and I realized that nobody was going to just recognize what was great inside of me. I had to show people, you know what I mean? Like, and I think the problem was I was waiting for it to be given to me instead of me doing it on my own. And I think that's what my issue was originally. And my parents are great parents, but my father, who was an educator, he was a teacher, who still is, and he was really wanted us to learn on our own. He wasn't going to force anything on us. He was going to let us find our own way. And long term, that was the right thing for me, right? For me to do that. But at the time, I probably needed somebody to say, hey, you're great, and you can do this and you can do that, and believe in yourself. But he wanted us to find our own way. And I think that it was the best thing for me where I am in life now. But at the time, I probably needed a little bit more help.
Yeah. So it's very interesting, because that feeling of not being good enough is the core fear that every human being has. Right.
Right.
So how did you get over it? And how did did you start becoming comfortable in your own skin?
So work did it. So when I got into the banking world and real estate, I was just a very, very hard worker. And through hard work, I started to succeed very, very early. So what resonated with me most is like, if I could work hard and I could be consistent, I could be really successful at this. And that's all it took. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm not the best salesperson in the room. I'm not anything, but I work hard and I'm consistent. And that's really what I learned from my dad. My dad worked 3 jobs when I was coming up, and he was very hardworking and consistent every single day. So that was the image that I had to be. And that's what I did. So I think once I started to get some accolades, and I started to advance, that I got some confidence. I was like, wow, I'm better than I thought it was. And I'm sitting in the room with all these people that I didn't think I could. And I'm competing with them and I'm beating them. And I think that it took some accomplishments to make me know that I could compete. And then I wanted more. And then I got a little bit more and I wanted more and I wanted more and I wanted more. And it all at some point turned into a false confidence that I just thought it would get better every single year. And then the 2008 market crash happened and I lost everything and I had to start over again. And that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, to be totally honest with you, because it gave me, it grounded me, it humbled me, and it made me into somebody that was resilient, that was more resilient than I had ever been before. So that helped me again. But I think more than anything, I started getting little wins, but I got little wins from being consistent and being hardworking.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. So especially in sales, right? Like there's really not much, like not anything, not any more required than, being a hard worker and being consistent.
I think that's everything in life, right? I think if you show up every single day and give your best effort, you will be successful. It may take longer than you want it to take, but you will be successful eventually doing it that way.
Yeah. So then you started, like you went into mortgages. What year was it when you went into mortgages?
2001.
So for the next 7 years, you were crushing it then, right? So, so at 2008, you became vice president of this public traded company and you were crushing it, right? So walk me through that journey. So like, did you like start being successful right off the bat, or did it took you a couple of months, maybe a year or two?
No, I was successful as a salesperson pretty quickly. I wasn't the best person there, but I was pretty successful. By the time I was like 23 years old, I had already bought my first property. I was already managing a group of people. I was really I did very, very well very quickly. I was in a young company that was interested in promoting young people to be in the leadership position. So I think that my position there helped me. But yeah, that happened pretty quickly. I don't think I knew enough to take advantage of what was going on around me at the time. And I think around 2006, 2007, I was making enough money where I got a little bit too much on cruise control. And I was just like, oh, this is easy. Like, this, I don't have to do more. I don't have to work harder. I just could do what I'm doing. And I think I got too comfortable. And I wasn't looking around what I was going on around me. I wasn't looking at how I was spending my money. I wasn't looking at what was going on in the market. And I just, I was naive a little bit. So I got my butt kicked, which is what I needed, and life changed.
All right. So then you've been able to build everything back up. So then how is it that you're applying those lessons right now?
I think first of all, I think that everybody's goal originally in life is to make a lot of money, right? Everybody's first goal is I want to be rich. I want to make money. I think when you get to the point where you're making significant money, more money than you thought you could make, or more money than, you thought possible, you start to realize that that's not the answer, right? You have to have a purpose every single day, and you have to have something you're striving for every single day. And that's the best lesson I can give anybody. Money's not going to make you happy. Money makes life less stressful in some ways. In some ways, it makes it more stressful, but it's not going to make you happy. So I think that you have to have something you get up and you be passionate about it every single day. And that's what I needed to learn. And after 2008, when I started to rebuild it again, all I wanted to do was be comfortable again. I was so comfortable, I blew it, right? Like I blew it. I just wanted to be comfortable again. So then I started work this journey over the next like 3 or 4 years just to get comfortable again, to get my houses back, to get a group again in the mortgage business, to be financially sound again. And I got to that place and I was like, I'm bored. This isn't it. This isn't what I wanted. Like this isn't, I'm comfortable and I come to work every single day and I'm happy. And I was really just very, very unhappy. And I started to realize that there had to be more to it than just what I was doing. And around 2015, 2016, I started really working on more of a purpose to educate others and to try to lift other people up with me and to bring people with me. And I had my first son in 2013 and my daughter in 2015, and that was life changing too, as you know. That was, you gave me a higher purpose in life. And, that was part of it as well. But I think that you have to get up every single day and have some kind of purpose. That's not just, I want to make a lot of money today.
Yeah, I like that. So, and it's very simple, man. Like, I think life is, it's all about purpose, growth, and contribution, right? And if you feel like you don't have purpose, well, then focus on growing and contributing, and then you'll find it, right? And another thing that, oh, actually, I forgot that other thing that that came up.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there, I got it. So the other thing, is that, yeah, like I agree. So when you solve the money problem, you're left with problems that money can't solve, right? And it's not to say that when when you have a lot of money, you're not gonna have problems anymore. You have higher quality problems, and you might be able to get to them in a nicer car, but that's about it, right? You still have problems. And so like the happiness, the fulfillment. So like so like my journey, man, I believe it has been perfect because I just started to make money this year, right? At 21. But the past 2 years, I was pretty much stuck, right? Just running in circles. And that was great because I think life was trying to teach me a lesson that I was able to learn. I'm glad that I was able to learn it, which was that, like, this lesson that we're talking about. Because in the past 3 years that I was, failing and I was stuck, quote unquote, I was forced to get my success, happiness, and fulfillment from all the other areas of my life that didn't involve money, right? Like my physical freedom, taking care of myself and loving myself and putting myself first, like my emotional freedom, getting clear on, right, like my limiting beliefs, getting clear on who I was, what I wanted, my purpose, sentimental freedom, learning how to become a good husband and a good father, right? And now that I've been working on those three for the past 3 years, and I've finally been able to make the financial one work, everything is incredible. And I'm not like a millionaire or anything. I'm about to be, but everything, like, life is pretty good. Like, I like it, right? It's I'm successful, happy, and fulfilled, and I'm glad that I was able to learn those lessons and apply them. So let me get into that, right? So you had your daughter, your son in 2013, and then your daughter, right? Yeah. And so you started building back up again in 2008. So and then 2013 you became, a father, a husband. So walk me through that journey. How has trying to be a husband, father, entrepreneur, running businesses, managing yourself, your family, your employees, your company, how has that been, man?
Yeah, I think that before I had my son Lucas in 2013, I didn't even know if I wanted to be a father, to be totally honest with you. I don't think I was doing it because that was the next logical step, right? You get married and you have children, right? And I think I just was down that path. And when he was born, everything changed. Like, it's a feeling that you can't really describe until it happens. And I felt it immediately. Like, I felt like this is what I was meant to be here for more than anything. Like, I found that was my purpose. I was meant to be a father. And I really feel that. And it made me much. And then my daughter came in 2015, and she's really more of a replica to me than even my son is. And she's happy and she's smiling, she's laughing all the time, and she keeps everything light for me. And I realized with them that I value time more than anything else than I ever did before, right? I think I used to, and we talked about this before we jumped on, that you said the week went so fast, right? And they're growing up so fast, and you have a daughter, so I'm sure you can see it, right? It's happening so fast. And like, you want to slow down time when you have kids, because you don't want them to be gone from you or leave the house. But I think that I value time so much now. Like, I try to be so scheduled with my day and so efficient with what I'm doing. I don't do any less. I don't strive to be any less than I did before. Like, I still want to be the best, right? I'm very competitive. I want to compete. I want to be the best every single day. But my time with them is more important than anything, right? So I make sure that my schedule is the right way every single day. So when I can leave, I want to be able to go. I want to make every baseball practice. I want to make every basketball game. I want to make every dance competition. I want to make everything. And my father was so hardworking when I was young, and it kind of set me up for success that way, that I saw him that way. He really, more than anybody in life, by example, set me up for success. But I told my son all the time, I was like, he used to come to all my baseball practices, and he's like, oh.
Hey, sorry for the interruption. Real quick, do you want to know how I've been using my podcast to build a multi-million-dollar network with over 100 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs? Reach hundreds of my ideal clients with my message, coaching, service, and podcast. Get invited to speak on 4 stages in the last 2 months alone. Through my own events, and have over 100 successful entrepreneurs being willing to speak at my event. Become a millionaire in 1 year get mentored by multimillionaires, and achieve goals that I thought were going to take me 10 years to achieve in 1 year, and ultimately get unstuck and make quantum leaps of progress in my business and life with less than 1 hour of work just by being myself? If you answered yes to any of those, I just want to invite you to a free training showing you how I've been able to build a multi-million-dollar network that is helping me achieve bigger income goals faster with only 1 hour of speaking and just being myself. To be honest, I thought I was going to be a multi-millionaire, speak on stages, throw my own events, and live a successful, happy, and fulfilled life of growth and impact in 10 years from now. That seemed so far away, but my podcast has been able to help me do that in less than 6 months. I'm actually doing all of that this year at the age of 21 with my podcast. I'm reaching thousands of people with my message, my service, my podcast, my coaching. I've gotten booked to speak on 4 stages in the last 2 months. And on these stages, I'm going to be getting in front of hundreds of my ideal clients, making roughly around 15 to 30K plus per event. Not only that, I have a network of over 100 high-level, multi-million-dollar entrepreneurs who have all agreed to speak at my events. Getting clients is a problem of the past. I've gotten the opportunities to learn from billionaires, and I'm collapsing decades of time, and I'm literally achieving what I thought was going to take me 10 years to achieve in 1 year. All of this because I use podcasting as a networking tool, and I leveraged a rare concept called the cloak track. And I want the exact same thing for you. Just imagine where you could be in 1 year from now if you get this free training right now. That is why I'm inviting you to this training. On this short training, you're going to learn how a small group of purpose-driven entrepreneurs, authors, coaches, course creators, and speakers have combined podcasting with this rare concept called the cloak track to build a multi-million-dollar network, reach thousands of their ideal clients with their message, books, courses, coaching, make an extra $118,800, get booked on 10 stages, and build a successful network of entrepreneurs who speak on their stage, all of this in under 6 months. I'm going to walk you through the 4 steps to make this work. Step number 1, alignment. Getting clear on who you want to be, what you want to do, your goals, your purpose, and aligning all of this with building your podcast and your ideal podcast guest. Step number 2, leveraging the cloak track to find your ideal podcast guest and never running out of them. Step number 3, leveraging the cloak track to close an interview with anyone, no matter how rich, famous, or out of your league they may seem. And step number 4, the content machine. The content machine is the key to tapping into other people's audiences. And I'm going to show you all of those 4 steps. The link to access this free training is in the description of this video. Click on it and go watch this training right now so that you can learn how you can too build a multi-million-dollar network that helps you achieve bigger goals faster and with less effort. Note, this training is only available to 18 people, so act right now, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. Bye-bye.
I said, nobody. I said, I used to walk there by myself. Like he couldn't to work. He didn't have any options to come to baseball. And, so like, for me, that's the one thing I'm trying to add into the mix. Like I want to set the right example for them, but I also want to be there for all the stuff that they need me there for. So I'm trying to do both. And that's my most important part in my day at this point.
Nice. So you do it in the morning?
So I'm a morning person for sure. I'm up about 4:30. I exercise in the morning. I do everything in the morning that would take away from their time. So I get everything out of the way. I read in the morning, I exercise in the morning, I meditate in the morning, and then
that's for you.
Everything that's for me gets done before everybody else is up. Exactly. Yeah. And then by 7:30, 8 o'clock, I'm in the office. And then by 5:30, 6 o'clock at the latest, most days, 90% of the days I'm out of the office and I'm on my way home. And sometimes I'll have events that I have to speak at and stuff I have to do at night, but for the most part, I try to be home at night. And I really want to be with them in those hours.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Like no one in their deathbed, is going to ask for like their monogamy frame of when they made their first $1 million or the keys to their first Ferrari or anything like that. Like what's there's a story that one of my podcast guests told me. He was an interviewer, and he interviewed several people on their deathbed. And one of them told him that, he asked, what is one thing that you would change if you could go back in time? He was like, this guy was in his deathbed, right? About to die. There was no way back, and no one was with him. And, this guy asked him that, and he said, well, can I get 4 things that I could change? And then he was like, oh yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, I guess you can. And he was like, I had 4 kids. And the things that I would change would be that I would have gone to more of each of them, of those 4 kids games, because he didn't go to any of the games of any of his 4 kids. And, now he was regretting it, man, on his deathbed. And this guy was a like very successful millionaire, right? But spent all of his life working to prove, I don't know what he was trying to prove, but lost what really mattered, right? So that's a great lesson right here. And just I want to add one more thing, which is how to actually implement it, right? Because sometimes, you get caught up in problems, business, whatever, and you're not able to be present. And another of my podcast guests gave me an insight, right? So he said that one time he, there was a group of people that he was speaking to, and then he challenged all of them to walk over there. I don't know, maybe a couple meters, and that whoever walked the best was going to receive a prize for $10,000, right? And he gave them 10 minutes to prepare. And then during those 10 minutes, you could see the people like preparing, organizing their mind, or thinking about how they were going to walk, or practicing how they were going to walk, right? And then when they walked, everyone was walking perfectly, right? With an amazing attitude and everything. And it was because there was a prize at the end, right? So apply that in your life. So now, like every time that I'm going to be spending time with my family, that I'm going to go out with them or whatever, I visualize myself getting a prize and being like, all right, what if I get a trophy? So I'm going to go out with my wife to the movies. All right, what if, depending on how good this going to the movies with her goes, and like how I treat her, and how I show up, I'm going to get a prize. And I use this prize mentality for everything. And I've been seeing that it's helping me like show up with a better attitude. So I just wanted to add
awesome,
that
bro.
in.
Yeah, it's really good, bro. It's a really good thing you're implementing, and I love that.
And I make it a habit, so I track that every single day.
Yeah,
I'm like,
great.
did I implement this trophy attitude? And so I track that. And so, man, so your passion is to like help others, right? Be successful and find purpose, find meaning in what you've been able to be successful at, real estate, mortgages, sales. So what is it that you got going on right now?
So right now, I mean, the mortgage business is still with my partners. Is still my major business every single day. We have about 250 employees, so it's a big operation and 50 offices, and it's been a good place to be the last couple of years. So that's definitely still a big part of what we do. We close somewhere between 600 and 700 loans a month. So that's a big part of my day still every single day. But my real estate portfolio, I've been very, very heavy in buying the last few years. I'm very, very high, or at least I was, and we'll see where it goes now. I bought a lot of Airbnb type properties over the last couple of years. And now I'm teaching people how to do that as well. I have a course by the name of the Next Real Estate Gold Rush, and that's the nextrealestategoldrush.com, where I'm showing people how I bought those properties, the things I did wrong, the things I failed at, and that kind of stuff. I'll have the Disruptors Network, which is my podcast and the TV show. And the concept of the Disruptors Network is I want to bring people to light like you are, right? Yeah. That are entrepreneurs or people with substance that have gone through trial and error and failure. And not only are they succeeding now, but they're showing other people how to succeed. And the show, the TV show and the podcast is really based around interviewing people that are doing that stuff in their life. So we do that. The podcast is once a week. The television show is going to be out hopefully in August, September on DirecTV. And then we have a scholarship fund that we call Generation Disruptor that we've had for about 3 years now. And it's done through my mortgage company, where we're bringing people in to get licensed in the mortgage business. And what my goal with that is to give people access to things that I didn't have access to when I was at their level, at their age, and help them succeed in this business through a paid salary scholarship fund that they come in through, they learn from, and then ultimately get licensed in this business and create a career in it.
Nice. So you probably didn't get paid while you were trying to get licensed, right?
No. I came into this business as a strictly commissioned salesperson, and I didn't get a check for the first 4 months that I worked in the business. So I had saved up enough money from all the other stuff I was doing before I started working to kind of survive. But I really didn't have that option. So I really started with my back against the wall in this business. And I want people to start the right way so they have the right path and they learn the right way. So I'm trying to change that cycle a little bit. Yeah, but I didn't. I started kind of differently, which may have been the best thing for me, to be totally honest with you. It didn't give me any options, and I could show up and work hard every single day. Yeah, 100%. So the Disruptors podcast, is it out? Do you have any episodes? Yeah, so it's on all the streaming platforms. It's on Apple, it's on Spotify, it's on podcasts. We just interviewed David Meltzer today for the podcast.
Nice.
We're once a week on there. I do some shows that are really based around real estate and how you get started in real estate and how you buy real estate. But yeah, we're probably about 50 episodes in, and it's on all the streaming platforms. It's on Disruptors Network on YouTube. It's Disruptors Network on Apple, on Spotify, on Anchor. So we're on all the major platforms, and my website, which is ralphdibugnara.com.
Cool. So do you do live episodes or like do you do them on Zoom?
No, everything. Well, no, I take that back. We've done some live episodes. We have done some live episodes. We had Chris Voss, who wrote Never Split the Difference, which is a great book if you're into sales, as one of our first guests, and he was live. So we try to do live episodes when we can. A lot of the stuff is built around my schedule, so it has to be taped, unfortunately.
Okay, cool. Awesome, man. So, man, I know that you in the 2008, one of the reasons that, you lost everything is because you weren't, you didn't have your head in the market. You were just like, I don't know, maybe got comfortable, but you didn't know what was happening around you, right? So right now, I know that you're big on like real estate trends. So like, what is happening right now in real estate? Like, what is the next big trend, or like, what is it that's happening?
Yeah, so we're in an interesting time in markets in general. Interest rates are on the way up from where they were historically low the last couple of years, and now they're on the way up. So it's going to get more expensive to buy a house. At the same time, we're in a country that's going through a high inflation, and high inflation basically means that everything is priced high right now, right? Your groceries, your gas, your goods, everything that you buy is high because of inflation. So, and the stock market's down and the crypto market's down. So we're in a weird period. And I think that you're going to see the country go through some sort of recession over the next 6 to 8 months. I don't think it's going to be a crippling one, but I think we're going to see some sort of downturn. And the housing market will be one of the safer investments. Real estate will still be one of the safest investments you can make because it's got the least chance of going down because there's still much more demand than there is supply of homes for sale. I think you'll see a reduction in prices in real estate. It won't be a crash, but it'll be one of the safest places you can put your money because supply way exceeds demand. I mean, demand way exceeds supply still, and it's going to keep it as a safe market. So I still think buying homes is a good thing right now. There's a lot of value there, but it just has to be, it has to be done the right way.
So the prices of real estate will go down?
I believe so. Yeah. I think over the next, 6 to 8 months, you're going to see prices come down, not 30, 40%. I think you'll see them come down 10 to 15% from where they are now. But I also believe that we're in a market right now that's overpriced. So they're going to come back down to where they should be, into normal prices. And you will see a reduction in prices. We're not going to see any kind of market crash, but you're going to see a reduction in prices.
Got it. Awesome. So is that what you teach, like in the course or coaching program that you have?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
We teach people how to kind of buy in this market and how to kind of still succeed when this is going on and how to leverage it the right way and not take on too much debt. And yes, we go through the kind of the proper way to do it.
Nice. So, man, we have a couple of minutes and I end my interviews with 5 questions.
Okay.
And this is not the first one, but I'm just curious. How old are you, man?
I'm 43.
That's so amazing. And I say amazing because, I grew up in a Mexican culture and like at 40, everyone's done already. Like they have a belly, they have no energy. They get home and watch TV, drink beer. But, I've been like, this is my 100 and like, I've done like 115 episodes in the past 6 months.
Okay.
And, I always talk to people like you, right? Like successful people that are, decades ahead of me who are on their 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s. And it's not the case. So that's been able to be like a mind shift. And I'm very excited because I'm very young. So
it's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
So the first question is, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self if you could?
I would tell my 20-year-old self to believe in yourself more, to be more confident that you're good enough, that you can compete with anybody, as long as you tell yourself you can do it and you take the action steps to do it. So I think just believe in myself more.
Yeah. So trust the process and be willing to put in the work.
100%. Cool. Yes. Yeah.
The next question is around mindset. So what is one mindset shift that you've had that you can share with us that you think is contributing to your success right now?
Yeah. So the book I wrote is kind of based around that. It's called The Growth Trap, and it's going to be it's going to be the ebook in July, and it's going to be out in hard copy in November. And The Growth Trap is something that I believe that from when we're born to when we're around 18 years old, right? We grow naturally. We get bigger, we get stronger, we get smarter automatically, right? We don't have to do anything to do it, but we get to some point in life, like you have over the last 3 years, that you have to force growth, right? You had to force yourself to learn how to speak English. You had to force yourself how to embrace fatherhood. Like we get to a point we have to force growth, and some people can't do it. Some people get to a point where they're just like, I don't know how to do this. I quit. So I think for me, the biggest thing that I learned is I went through all these growth traps in life that I got trapped where my growth got stopped because I wasn't putting the work in. So now instead of having somebody else force my back against the wall and force me to do something, I constantly force myself against the wall and force myself to grow so nobody else can ever do it to me again.
Yeah, because you get comfortable, right?
Yeah, too comfortable. Yeah, and we stop believing that we have to improve, and we always have to improve every single day, and we always can improve every single day. But we have to be willing to put the work in to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I love that. Yeah, I love that, man. So, mindset map clarity. So, we talked a little bit about lack of clarity. So, do you have any advice right now for anyone who may lack or may need some clarity in their life?
Yeah. So I think that when clarity comes from experience a lot of the time and who your influences are around you. So I think first, who are you surrounding yourself with is super important. And I think that we need mentors in life. I think we need to talk to people like you have the show, talk to people who have made mistakes. If I would have had podcasts and audiobooks and that kind of stuff in 2007, 2008, and I could hear the voices of people who were successful, but had failed along the way, I think my path would have been a lot easier. So all the information is out there for us right now. I think we just have to go seek it. And we have to put positive things in our brain to get clarity, right? We have to keep feeding ourselves with positivity and information, and it's all out there for us to be great, but we have to want it.
I love that, man. Yeah, 100%. So a podcast changed my life, and that, it inspired me to start mine. So yeah, 100%. I was listening, I spent like 2 years listening to interviews with multimillionaires and very successful people. That changes you, right? And right now, man, you're not speaking with the same Alex Ramirez as 6 months ago, right? Because after speaking to over 100 high level, 6, 7, 8, and even 9-figure entrepreneurs, it changes you, right? But for the good, not like in an arrogant or in an arrogant way, but like in a wisdom, right? Like you absorb the wisdom of the people that you talk to. So I totally agree with that. And the next question is motion. So what is one habit that you have right now that you think has contributed to your success?
Yeah, I think, for me, it's always going to be the same thing. It's my daily habits and my consistency with my daily habits. Every single day I do some kind of exercise routine. Every single day I read. Every single day I listen to a podcast. I think the consistency of my positive routines is the biggest contributor to my success because I'm constantly trying to find ways to challenge myself to grow. And I think my consistency in habits is the one thing I can attribute to that more than anything.
Yeah, I love that. Mindset map, motion, measure. So what do you think about measuring and tracking?
I track everything.
Yeah,
I track my steps. I track my sleep. I track my food. I'm big on keeping myself accountable through tracking, right? So I keep myself accountable. I track my sleep hours. I track my steps every single day. I always have. I track my food most of the time, at least 5 days a week. I track what I'm eating and my daily food intake is. So I keep myself accountable by measuring and tracking.
Yeah, it's a great tool, right? I track my workouts, every single rep, every single weight, every single set. And like the next week that I come back to do that same workout, I just look at my notes and I know exactly what I'm aiming for.
No, because then you're always competing against yourself. And that's the only person you need to compete against is just you. So I'm the same.
Yeah. And then, to go back to the habits, man, there's this quote. I don't know who said it, but he said that if you had a fulcrum strong enough and a lever long enough, he would be able to move the world. And, he said that analogy to like your habits. He said that your habits and the fulcrum is, with your habits, with strong habits that's going to be the fulcrum and the lever upon which you can move the world with your habits. So pretty powerful, right? So man, it was great talking to you. Had a lot of fun. So where, if other people want to know about real estate, the real estate trends or what you do, the podcast and all of that, where should they go? Where's the best place for them to get this information?
I'm pretty active on Instagram, and I'm at Dibug, DIBUG on Instagram. And if you message me there, I'll respond. And I'm pretty sure that's where we connected. So, if you message me there, respond. And my website's ralphdibugnara.com. And if all my stuff is on there, all my real estate websites, my company where you can get real estate news and real estate investing advice, my course, our podcast. So you can get everything on there. It's on ralphdibugnara.com, or Instagram is great for me.
Got it. Awesome, man. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you. I had a lot of fun, and thank you for being here, and I'll see you later, man.
Thanks, Alex. I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for having me.
Bye. Thank you for watching the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with one friend, leave us a comment, and let us know. 99% of people never leave a review or comment, but we love and are very thankful with the 1% of you who do. If there's something or someone you want to see on this podcast, send me a message on Instagram at Alex_Ramirez1020 and let me know. As a thank you for that, I have an amazing surprise for each and every one of you who does take the time to leave us a comment or review on YouTube or one of the major podcasting platforms